Now, Chris, we got to talk about Superman revealing his identity to the world.
Yeah.
And Superman issue 18 in December, and I think this is horrible.
I agree.
I hate everything Bendis is doing with Superman. I just saw the cover for this week's Superman that just came out, or last week, I should say.
Oh, the one I just read, which was like 15 or 16.
Maybe.
With the Legion.
Yeah, they're like, move over, Superman, and we're on Jonathan.
Yeah.
I wanted to barf when I saw that cover.
Yeah, I read it, and...
How was it? I didn't read it.
He's trying to play it off like Jonathan, like John Kent isn't going to become part of the Legion. Like, he's trying to play it off where it's like, they're flying home, and he's like, they offered him to be part of the Legion, and he's like, yeah, let me think about it. And it's like... Really?
How great, dude! It could be the biggest trick of it all.
Where it's like, he's not joining the Legion.
He's not joining the Legion. So, reason why we're upset, if you don't know, the writer Brian Michael Bendis came over from Marvel. Mm-hmm. Big, high profile. He's done fantastic things in his run. He took Jonathan Kent, which is the son of Lois Lane and Superman. Was a young boy around Damien's age, Robin, right? Turned him into a teenager. It's terrible. The writing's not very good. We don't like it. I mean, I don't like change in that way. And now they're going to shoot him off into like a future Justice League kind of team.
They're going to shoot him off into Legion of superheroes, and
that would be great though if they did the whole.
I don't think that. I think they're going to. It's like a done deal. Because I think Bendis really wants to write. Like when he came to DC, he really wanted to do Legion, and this was his way of getting there. Because unfortunately, when you have big profile writers like that, not saying all the time. I'm not saying this is a sure thing, but I'm saying some of the time. It seems like they do certain books to kind of lead it into a book they want to do. And we've talked about this, how certain books...
He can always revert Jonathan back.
Yeah, but like, all right, so Snyder and Jock just did Batman Who Laughs, that 6-issue series.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
I don't think
wasn't
it was good.
Amazing. I thought it was good, but it definitely basically was there to give Batman Superman a villain to fight.
Yeah.
In the new Batman Superman book that Josh Williamson's doing. So the Batman Who Laughs stays on Earth, and now he's corrupting different heroes, and Batman and Superman have to figure out who they are. Basically, the ending of that miniseries was for Batman and Superman to have a storyline.
I guess.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So like, it seems like Bendis is taking Action Comics and taking it seriously for Superman, but is taking Superman and isn't taking it seriously for Superman and making it more like Legion prequel.
Well, yeah, he's using Superman as his path to a new book.
Exactly.
So like he's maybe sacrificing the core of Superman or the character, the family life, or whatever he needs to do.
It's like
to get there. Because in comics you could undo everything. So I understand the bigger picture of things. Like, oh, he could be with there. They could do an arc. They could revert him back and be like, oh, we know how to fix you, and we'll send you back home, and he's normal. Great, but all this time was just so they could do that instead of just being, I want to write a Legion book. Let's just start it out of the woodwork.
Yeah,
because everything has to lead somewhere.
And we've talked about too, like how certain decisions he's made are questionable based on, you know, like we just said, John Kent aging him, the Legion like kind of prequelness. I also am not a fan of how him and Lois's relationship is right now, and how
because she's writing her manifesto.
Well, like she's writing something which is obviously going to be an event later on. That's like the hint. Same thing with Iron Man, how they're throwing like that 2020 at everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And she's writing this and she's kind of like not at home. And like you're talking about a character in Superman who's based in like corn-fed Kansas, family values, like, you know, politeness, manners, morality. And it's like, yeah, my wife's kind of over here in this hotel living there. I don't really ask too many questions. I just kind of come over for a booty call.
And where's his son in all this? Because I haven't
in space.
He's in space now.
He was in space with him. They all, like, now, him, Superman, and Kara all went to take down Rogol Zaar. They finally took down Rogol Zaar.
Okay.
And in turn, it also took...
It's not like a divorced family like Jonathan.
Do you want to know partially what happened in the book?
Yeah, I'm not reading it.
So, you know how Clark's dad, Jor-El, came back and he was, like, with him? Basically, his punishment for all that and semi-creating Rogol Zaar and all this stuff, the punishment was the Time Bureau sent him back to Krypton at the moment it fucking exploded.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So,
I like that.
When it explodes, he technically dies back on that time, and he sees his younger self, and is basically like, don't worry, it all works out. And his younger self's like, what the? And it, like, boom. And
closes the time loop.
Closes the loop of, like, Jor-El being in the present and surviving.
I like that. That's fine.
So that happens. Then now they're going back to Earth, and it's like Kara, Superman, John, Krypto was there too. I like Krypto.
Good.
And they're flying back to Earth, and he's like, you better tell your mother this Legion thing is like some type of future college thing, or otherwise she's never going to agree to it. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, we're going to have a talk. And he's like, definitely talk to your mother. And John's like, no, I meant Damien. I'm going to have to talk to Damien. And that's how it ends. And the next issue is going to be like Return of Super Sons. Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't go back.
Or maybe he takes Damien too, and then you'll really be pissed.
Well, here's the thing. If I might be able to get behind it if they take Damien too and they age them up and they're both teenagers in the future, broing it out, as long as they come back.
That is so hypocritical. You can't do that.
I said might. I don't think I would be.
No,
I'm just saying, like, that's the only way I can see this flying.
I don't like the fact that like you didn't have to age him. If this was all happening and he was still the same age naturally, I'd be more okay with it. I don't think you needed to age him up at all.
No.
Right? Like, first of all, the fact that he was basically the same age as Damien was awesome because you basically have future Batman and future Superman.
I really want
sitting there and wait
in 20
growing
years,
up together.
I want Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent to take a back seat, and I want Damien and Jonathan to be Superman and Batman respectively and take over the new era.
My old school, like,
I know
I'm like, I don't know if I can accept change.
I don't know if I can accept it either.
I think it'd be interesting to see, I mean, almost like a Superior Spider-Man-esque, or, you know, like a Batman, like, you know, Dark Knight Returns-esque, or you know, future Batman Beyond-esque, where, like, you have that kind of connotation, and, like, for a year or two, they do that. But they're never going to go without Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne for a long time.
Maybe I just want to see an Elseworld story where they're adults, and, like, I want to get, like,
maybe
run
that's Legion. Like, maybe that's Legion. Maybe they go into the future, they grow up there, and they help the 31st century, and they become Batman and Superman of the future.
Okay.
Like, maybe that's what it is.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And then they come back to
that way you
kids?
Because no, or like they're growing up there and they come back and they're a little older and they're a little older and they come visit and they're a little older.
Can't. See, I think you need to keep them young. If they come back to continuity,
but if they're naturally aging, you can't just time warp them young again. I mean, you could. It's ridiculous.
Some kind of it's comics. You can do anything.
No, I'm saying, like, if they go into the future and they become the Batman Superman of that future, then you kind of break that loop of like, hey, we could still have Clark and Bruce on Earth, you know, 0 or Earth 1, whatever it is, and they are the Clark and Bruce and the Batman and Superman of this world. And then in the future, Jonathan Kent grows up to be Superman and Damian Wayne grows up to be Batman in the future, so you could have those stories at the same time that don't have to cross each other's paths. You have the 31st century and the 21st century.
I still like them as young kids, though.
I do too. For now, yeah. I mean, it's. I'm not saying now. I'm just saying as it naturally progresses. So we'll see. But I digress. But that's what's going on with Superman. Might be revealing his identity in December. We don't know how. I just don't like it if
it's
it is.
to the world. I think it's not to like a person.
Yeah, like we were talking about before, like if it was like to Jimmy.
Yeah,
or like Perry White.
Jimmy, but I think it's more like to the world.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man.
We just got over, like, because before in comics, before we move to the next topic, Superman had his identity revealed to everybody, and everybody hated him.
Yep.
And he had to get his earn the trust back and do some kind of weird stuff. I barely remember what happened, guys. It's weird.
It was a while ago.
Don't worry about it. It's nonsense. And now we're like, oh, we just left the nonsense. We're gonna go back. Okay,
we'll see. Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea at all.
We'll keep you updated and let you know what happens if you're not reading. I'm not reading Superman right now because it's got awful.
I am.
I know you.
Are you reading Action?
Yeah, I love Action.
Action's good.
Action's really good.
Action Comics is really good.
It just, I mean, writers have good days and bad days. You have a good book, you have a bad book. I guess I have to take the good with the
I
bad.
read the first Legion book too, Millennium.
I'm not touching it.
It was actually really good.
Oh,
it was really good.
Really good?
Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with any of the Legion stuff or the like Superboy stuff. It all followed. Remember Rose and Thorn?
Rose and Thorn.
She was in Superman early on. She's kind of like the schizophrenic girl who's nice, and then she like snaps and turns into like this crazy brawler. Almost like Crazy Jane.
Okay.
So she is in the future somehow, but hasn't aged.
Okay.
And she's trying to figure out why, and she's trying to figure out what happened to the heroes and why the world isn't better, and she just got to the Legion.
I'm not going to read the book just because of my personal biases, and I admit
which
that.
Is fine. Which is fine, but I'm giving it a chance because I really like the actual Legion. I like the Legion of superheroes.
Well, you'll let us all know how it is.
And I'll let you guys know.
All right, guys, let us know down in the comments below what you think of the whole Superman
Reveal.
the status of Superman in comics right now, and the reveal of him revealing his identity.
Let's hope not.
Let us know if you think that's a good idea or not. And if you do, please
tell us why.
Yes.